Let's take you now to a tiny island at the centre of increasing tensions in the South China Sea, where several countries are competing to lay claim to the region and the strategic sea lanes there. Let's show you a map of what is the exclusive economic zones of each country, as defined by the United Nations. But it's China which claims most of the South China Sea, as shown here. It's been building military bases and sending hundreds of ships to enforce its claims. Few countries have challenged it, but the Philippines has, and reinforcing the few reefs and islands it holds. The most important of these is the tiny island of Pagasa, halfway between the Philippines and Vietnam. Our Southeast Asia correspondent Jonathan Head was allowed a rare visit to the island.
We've been flying for an hour over an empty sea. Now we saw coral reefs and began looking for the speck of an island the Philippines calls Pagasa, or Hope. A flotilla of Chinese ships told us we were close. They're a permanent, intimidating presence. Less than a kilometre wide, Pagasa has barely enough runway for our plane to land. But the Philippines is now building it up with troops and new infrastructure. A small bastion of defiance against China.
So here we are on Pagasa, and as you can see, there really isn't very much to it. In fact, I think you could probably walk all the way around the island in about 30 minutes. But it is solid land, a proper island, unlike the submerged reefs characteristic of this area, and it does have a civilian population, all helping to reinforce the claims of the Philippines against those of its giant neighbour. But living here is tough and very isolated.
Around 300 people call this island home. There's a school and a clinic, but not much else. Residents depend on government support like food rations, though those we spoke to all said they liked the clean and quiet environment.
The main challenge is when people, especially children, get sick. When it's a serious case, we need to evacuate them quickly to the mainland. But planes are not always available, and sometimes the weather is too rough.
Aside from government jobs, fishing is the only viable way to make a living. But that's become much more difficult since the swarms of Chinese ships arrived offshore, harassing the little Filipino boats.
Those Chinese are not fishermen. Their ships are huge compared to our small wooden boats. They threaten us, coming close and sounding their horns to chase us away. Because of that, we can only fish close to the island, and the fish stocks here are much smaller.
If it's to prevent a complete Chinese takeover in this area, the Philippines needs to hold on to this sliver of land. Its forces are outnumbered and outgunned. But after years of watching China expand its presence in these seas, there is a renewed determination in the Philippines not to retreat any further. Jonathan Head, BBC News, on Pagasa Island.